General Bakshi.
Please forgive me, but the dominant impression that I got from the very learned presentations made by all the erudite gentlemen here is that peace is about to break out with Pakistan. Please put your hands on your heart and tell me if that is objective reality. I'm very sorry to state the panel was representative, just less one dissenting note from Mr. Javed Akhtar, which was on a realist level. All with the same opinions, and I'm afraid you don't have a discussion then. And we will not get to conclusions which are realistic. We can propel ourselves forward to peace by patting ourselves on the back. We are not getting there. All this talk about people. Please don't forget, the people of this country have elected this present government, which everybody here has blamed for whatever is the impasse between relations. You must understand, I think, a very perceptive point, and it came from a non-academic, a non-military or a diplomat, and that was Mr. Javed Akhtar. It is a question of the clash of two nationalisms. And there is something happening here in this country. Right-wing nationalism is on the rise. And it is on the rise because the people of this country feel they have been kicked around enough. If you suffered 60,000 deaths, we have suffered 80,000 starting from Punjab.
General Bakshi, that's a question masquerading. That's a comment masquerading as a question.
No, it is, I would say, because at the end of it, we are supposed to come to conclusions. And they will be absolutely subjective. May I have your comments on this comment, please?
Okay. Any questions, please?
Yeah. No, but that gives me... But
Sir, thank you very much for the compliment, but I beg to differ with you on one point. People who are kicked around, who are these people? The fact is that the fundamentalism and reactionary forces in this country are brought by the privileged, not the people who are kicked around. People who are in bonded labor, people who are landless laborers, people who sleep on the payments of metropolis, these are the people who are kicked around. This is the fascists. These are the curse on this country who are raising the temperature of this so-called Hindu nationalism. They want to make India Hindu Pakistan. They are as dangerous as the Pakistani right-wing.
May I just come in with your permission, Bharat Bhushan Saab? I will try to remain cool. I will not become intense, but I do want to submit that I am surprised and disappointed that this discussion has gone to the level of questioning the very rationale for Pakistan. I don't recall any of the Pakistani participants questioning the rationale for the existence of the Indian state, which came into existence for the first time in 1947. Pre-1947, India was a region. Never a state that represented the totality of the territory which today is composed by Bangladesh, Pakistan and India. There were 562 princely states, big and small. At no one time were all those territories combined under a single Indian political structure called a state. So let us not call Pakistan as if it was carved out of India. This is a myth. It was a process of independence of two states, not partition. Only two provinces were partitioned. One. Second, religion can be one of the elements of nations and nationalism. Scholars have studied this phenomenon and have come to the conclusion that there can be no scientific definition of what constitutes a nation. Benedict Anderson thinks imagined communities are nations. Hugh Seaton Watson, who is acknowledged as possibly the finest authority in English on national history, says it is not possible to define what is nationalism. So, to outright dismiss religion as the basis for national identity goes against the whole thrust of history. Today, in the so-called German Republic, the ruling party is called the Christian Democratic Party. In the United States of America, the great state of Texas, you have to declare that you are a good Christian if you want to be elected governor. So, religion in various forms constitutes, for better or worse, one, not the only one, of the elements of national identity.
I think, Mr. Jabbar, you made your point. You made your point.
Right,
You're
I've
not
made my
even
point.
responding to a
Okay,
question.
okay.
And
And
my
last-
suggestion would be
right.
the two of you do a
Look,
back channel over a glass of
right.
whiskey and
may I,
discuss it.
yeah, may I? But conclude with one brief point, right? I don't want to go on about it. It was said by my dear friend Mani Shankar, this is very shocking, that what? Pakistan was conceived as a non-pluralist entity. I'm sorry to say, that's totally untrue. Pluralism is not defined just by having 97% of the people from one religion. Pluralism is about multiplicity of languages, dialects, ethnicities, geographies. By every one of those measures, Pakistan's genesis was pluralist, and it remains so. Just as India's Muslims are diverse, just as India's society is diverse, so is Pakistani society. And 1971 did not represent the rejection of the two-nation theory. It represented the rejection of the two-state theory. It has now become a three-state theory, two nations. Bangladesh does not want to reunite with West Bengal. They are conscious of being Muslim and they want to remain Muslim.
You know, this is really unfair now. You're taking time away from the audience.
But so fundamental, I mean, you make such a strong, sweeping statement to erode, question, denigrate Pakistani national identity. We didn't do that. I mean, I didn't do it. I didn't say there's no basis for India to exist. India has a very great right to exist. It's an extraordinary country, and may you prosper. But we should not demean dialogue by questioning the very right to exist on the basis of certain claimed identities.
Fair enough. The question here.
Thank you, sir.